Welcome back to the realm of the Mindful Madman. Recently, I have been having a deep longing and desire to just live in the mountains, to be away from civilization, not necessarily isolate myself, but having the option to where if I wanted to not be around anyone at all, not a single soul, I could easily do that, as opposed to always being around people. And it's not to say that the people that I'm around are bothersome or anything like that, but I don't know if you experience this, but sometimes I just get a deep longing and desire to just be by myself and meditate and get closer to the Most High in silence, because sometimes it feels like there's just too much noise, just too much static around. I can't fully shut it off when there's people around, and I know that that's just the level of meditation and you know, that force field of peace that I talk about. That's just the level that I'm at. I haven't reached that pinnacle yet, but the mountains, man, like I just feel like nature is just such a healing part of spiritual growth. I can only speak for myself, but the most clarity and the most answers that I've received and the closest I've heard the Most High's voice was when I was literally surrounded by nature. And usually it was when I was by myself, you know? I think that a lot of times, or most of the time, when you are recognizing a shift spiritually in the world, just look at your environment. And by environment, I mean nature. Look how nature changes. Sense how it changes as well, right? Because sometimes you can feel a change before you actually see it. And just by looking at verses in the Bible and like reading stories that occurred in the Word, I think the Most High often uses nature as an indication of when He's about to do something, either in like a destructive way or not. And that's not always the case either, right? But if you can go outside, if you have the ability to be around some grass, some trees, some shrubs, just do it. Just do it. And start making it a habit in your life that you are communicating and actually trying to get to know nature more. Developing your own relationship with nature is so important. I think this world is just getting more and more noisy. More news, more things that don't matter. Even a lot of the YouTubers that I see on here, a lot of the stuff they talk about, it just doesn't freaking matter. I had to start unsubscribing because I just didn't want to see it on my timeline, right? Gossiping and talking about other people and current events, certain current events that just don't freaking matter, is such a great way to lower your vibration and keep you in a frenzy state where you can't even decipher your own thoughts from the thoughts of the enemy or the thoughts of the world. And that's a very scary place to be in, to not know when something you're thinking is actually your own thoughts as opposed to an implanted thought from someone that said something to you or something you heard or seen, or just demonic activity, you know? And I don't want to be in a low vibrational state anymore. I'm sure a lot of you don't either, but I know most people that at the end of the day, the main thing that you need to be doing is getting right with the Most High. But personally, I found that the way in which I get closer to God, the way in which I start to gain that level of peace again and become more level-headed is when I'm outside, when I'm sitting amongst the trees and just talking to them. Because I truly believe that God's presence is most potent when I'm outside. Now, it's not to say that if I was inside praying and reading my Bible and in those things that the Most High is not there. I just personally feel Him more when I'm outside in nature. Like, there have been times where I'll be inside all day because of like work or whatever, and then I'll go outside after like being inside for like 7-8 hours, and it's just like a whirlwind of just, it's like a huge exhale. Like, it feels so great just to stick my head outside sometimes. And sometimes when you're inside all the time, you forget that like there's a whole world outside around you just existing, waiting for you to come outside and bask in its presence. And being in nature just allows you to be more observant. It's just better. It's just better. So this is just a reminder that if you're not going outside, just start, even if it's only for 5 minutes. There's a lot you can learn from nature. There's a lot that the Most High may be wanting to reveal to you, but He only wants to do it perhaps once you're outside and not on devices and screens all the time, because it just like gives you headaches and messes with your eyes and your mind and your spirit. It's just bad. It's just bad. I want to dwell amongst the mountains. I want to dwell in the mountains for a little bit. That's my desire. So, the next steps is to find a way to do that. Make it happen. But I just think that in this time, learning to actually enjoy your period of isolation will really help you. So you won't always feel the need to be around other people, because if you depend on someone else for everything, you depend on someone for your happiness, for your peace, and it may not be a particular person, it could just be people, just being around people. If you're always depending on people for those things, it's going to harm you in the long run, because no one's obligated to be there for you. It's the righteous thing to do, but at the end of the day, it really is just you and the Most High. And how you navigate through that makes all the difference. Some people get themselves in horrible situations because they are afraid to just leave the group or leave the person. They're so much afraid to be alone for whatever their own reasons, traumas, childhood traumas, PTSD, or whatever the reason. They're so afraid to be by themselves that they accept being with other people that are not low quality people, but they accept to stay with them. At least they don't have to be by themselves. And that's very dangerous. That's how the enemy traps you. That's how he traps you. That's how the kingdom of darkness traps you. You play on your weaknesses. A lot of the definition or meaning of warring in the spirit is really getting to know and understanding yourself, and knowing that there's a lot more power in you that you just haven't unlocked, that you don't even know you have. And this goes for myself as well. And I read a verse that stated that pretty much the only way you can truly get to know yourself is getting to know God first. The only way to know God is to seek him. Even if you don't even know what to do first, I personally recommend just starting to get your life together. Start eating better, getting enough sleep, getting your mind right, and then eventually that translate into your spirit getting right, and then that's how you find God. If you in the back of their mind are seeking to know God, because there's some people who have like nothing, they don't know where to start. They may not have grown up in like a Christian home or had a Bible or anything. For those people watching, I recommend that just start living a better life and just seek God by saying, like, in your heart, just be like, God, I may not know who you are, but reveal yourself to me. And you will be mind blown of how the Most High does his thing and how he comes to you. But in the meantime, just get your temple right. Take care of yourself. That's your body is the house of your spirit, which your spirit needs in order to navigate through this realm. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your body in order for your spirit to continue on the path to fulfill your purpose that was sent. If your house is weak and it's not a suitable place to be living for the spirit, then you are more susceptible to attacks spiritually and physically. So, and I also see nature as a protector as well. I remember one time a few years ago, I was outside. I think I might have been like writing or drawing or something, but I was sitting underneath this like canopy of trees, right? But there was like spaces. So when I looked up, I could see the sky. So it wasn't like it was like a full, like how you would go in like the rainforest. It was like regular trees, but it was like canopied over me. It was like a shelter in a way. I remember I was sitting there and I was just relaxing. And then I looked up and I saw the clouds start to get gray. So I was like, oh, it's about to rain. But something in me just told me to chill. Like, don't go inside. Just sit there and chill. And moments later, it started pouring down raining, right? Although it was pouring down raining, I kid you not, I did not get wet. I did not get soaked. There were spaces in the tree, so water could have came down through the tree and soaked me, but I did not get soaked. I was dry. Like, I was literally dry. The trees protecting me from whatever sudden storm came. I just stood there underneath it, just watching everything else get soaked. And I was sitting there dry when water could have hit me. Maybe a drop, maybe like 1 or 2 drops. But it was like more water should have landed on my head, but it didn't happen. Like, I really believe that when you go out in nature, you enter spiritual portals. And the thing about portals is that sometimes you can't even tell that you're in a different world. It just looks like everything else. But you only start to realize that once something different happens, and then you come out of it and you're like still in the same spot. You're like, oh, okay. Like, there are pockets of portals everywhere you go when you're outside, especially when you're around nature, especially when you're in nature. And you can't really see that physically through your physical eyes, but when you tap into your spiritual eyes, you still might not be able to see it, but you can definitely sense it and feel it. Man, there's so much to learn. And I've accepted not learning everything, because it's not meant for me to learn everything, but there's a lot that I do want to dive into, and I'm excited for it. So just get outside more. I want to read this quote to you. Let me pull it up real fast. This quote was on Pinterest. As I mentioned in the last video, I said that I was going to share more things that I see on Pinterest, and if they interest me, I will share it on this channel. So this quote is called "Wildness is a Necessity." It's by author's name is John Muir. I think it might be a German last name. And this is what it states: "I am losing precious days. I am degenerating into a machine for making money. I am learning nothing in this trivial world of men. I must break away and get out into the mountains to learn the news." And like, if you were thinking about it carnally, you'd be like, the news is on TV, but nah. The news that truly matters, like the true news that matters, is out there in the trees, near the streams, near the ocean. That's the true news. The news of the actual world, not the matrix world that we were created in. And this is not to say to not follow the news of the world, like the human world, because you should know what's going on so you can prepare accordingly. But a lot of us don't know the news of nature. We're so unfamiliar to it. It's like a foreign language, a foreign world. One is right there. It's right there. Some people may live in cities. I still think you even if you lived in the city, it's possible. It's possible to find something that is natural around you. And if you can't, I don't know what city that there's like no grass or trees anywhere, nothing at all, and there's not even like a plant. Because even a plant, that's nature. You just gotta work with what you got. But if you don't live in the depths of the heart of the city, and you live in the suburbs or the country areas where there's nature around you, take advantage of that. I'm gonna read that again because I just loved it so much. "Wildness is a necessity. I am losing precious days. I am degenerating into a machine for making money. I am learning nothing in this trivial world of men. I must break away and get out into the mountains to learn the news." Take care of yourselves. I don't do New Year's resolutions and 5 tips to be your greatest self in 2025. I don't do that. I think every day you wake up is pretty much a restart of your world. Right? And in that, you have to make the decision whether or not you're going to take action to make each day you wake up better, or you're just digressing deeper and deeper into the pit. Can't really tell you or show you how to do something. Can only give you advice. That's why I don't like a lot of self-help, because a lot of these people who are self-help teachers and gurus or whatever, I've noticed that they have kind of like a God complex, where they feel like, read my book because this is going to change your life. And it might change your life in a way, but not in the way they're probably thinking. It might just be a stepping stone to get you closer to the Most High. But a lot of these people don't even think about God when they write their books. They're just like, if you read my book, you will never go back. It's not always true. I've read self-help books before and still struggled. And these were like renowned books that people were always talking about, changed my life. Like, everyone's different, you know? There's nothing wrong with getting advice from someone, but just don't allow that to be the holy grail. We're just humans at the end of the day. Even my own channel. I think you should take everything with a grain of salt. And tap into the spirit and know what it is that you want to extract from that said person and what you don't. I just really feel like a lot of people do have that God complex, especially when you have a platform and you might have a lot of followers or whatever. Like, it's easy to start to feel like, wow, I'm really a god in a way. Like, I'm really like, I don't know what the terminology would be, but like, high and mighty, boastful. And usually those types of people, what they're saying, if you really break it down, it's not that deep. Again, this isn't shade to not read self-help books or anything like that. I just feel like at the end of the day, after you've gathered what you needed from people, then it's time for you to tap into your own self and listen out for the voice of the Most High. And in my opinion, you can do whatever you want to do, but in my opinion, one of the best ways to do that is by dwelling in nature for a little bit. That's it. This is the Mindful Madman, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.